Hi everyone, Sean here again. I'm one of the maths teachers at City College Plymouth, and I also work very closely with the amazing Maths Centre of Excellence. And I'm here again, yet again, for another bit of maths magic. So I want you to try and keep track of what's going on here, see if you can stay with me and see if you can end up with an answer what I'm hoping everybody's going to get. Okay? So the first thing I'll ask you to do is write down a number. Okay? Any number you like. Won't make it too big unless you've got a calculator handy, but hey, let's go over it and see what we get. The first thing I'll ask you to do is add 7 to that number. Okay, so whatever number you got, add 7. Okay? Now the next thing I'll ask you to do is multiply that number by 4. Okay, so whatever number you've got written down or in your head, multiply it by 4. The next thing I'll ask you to do is add 2 to that number. Okay? So once you've added 2 to it, what I'm asking you to do is half whatever number you've currently got, half your number, or just divide it by 2. Okay? Half or divide by 2. Okay? Hopefully you're still with me. Now what I'm asking you to do is subtract the number you started with. So whatever number you wrote at the beginning, I'd like you to subtract that start number from what you currently have written down on your calculator. Okay? Next thing to do, I need 2 more steps. Next thing is going to be subtract 5. Once we've subtracted 5, the last thing we're going to do is subtract our start number again. Now, I'm thinking, I'm hoping we're going to end up with 10. We should all end up with 10. Whoever's doing that trick at home, whatever number you started with, 10 should be the answer you're coming up with at the bottom. Now, as per usual, I like to explain why that works. Because it is, I suppose it is magic, but it's also something that can be explained quite simply with a bit of algebra. I'll start with an N for my number that I've written down. Let's call it N, I'll give it a letter. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is add 7 to that N. So that's the first thing I'm doing. What I'm doing then, I'm multiplying that, what I've got down here, this expression, n plus 7, I'm multiplying it by 4. Well, if I multiply an n by 4, I'll get a 4n. And if I multiply a 7 by 4, I'll get a 28. So hopefully we're happy so far. Now I'm adding 2 to that number. Well, if I add 2 to this, I'm going to end up with 4n plus 30. I'm adding 2 to that 28. Hopefully we're happy. Now I'm halving what I've got. I'm being asked to half it or divide it by 2. Well, if I half 4n, I'll end up with 2n. And if I half 30, I'll end up with 15. Okay? Next thing I'm being asked to do, I'm being asked to subtract my start number. Well, my start number is this letter n. If I take away an n from the 2n, I'm left with an n on its own. Okay? Hopefully you can see where this is going. Now, what I'm doing next is subtracting another 5. So if I take away 5 from this, I'm left with n plus 10. And the last thing I'm doing is subtracting my start number again. Well, my start number's n. If I take away n from n plus 10, I'm just left with 10 on its own. And that's why it works. So I'm hoping that makes sense. Hopefully that's all good. Please retweet or like if you're liking how these tricks are working and everything else. And feedback as well if you like to. I'd like to see how people are getting on with these things. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Very much appreciated. That's all for now. And I'll see you next week. That's all, folks.